A shipment of medicine intended for dozens of Israeli hostages being held in Gaza has arrived in the territory. The delivery comes after Qatar and France mediated the first agreement between Israel and the militant group, which is deemed a terror group by multiple countries.
Some relief on its way at last, but the fragile deal is already at risk. More than 2 days after it was announced, Hamas set new conditions for the delivery of medicines to hostages, insisting Israel must not inspect the trucks carrying them, and that for each box of medicines for the hostages, 1,000 must be delivered to Gaza residents. Israel said the trucks entering the Strip on Wednesday would undergo security inspections nonetheless. It's a worrying development for the relatives of the more than 100 hostages who remain in Gaza more than 100 days after they were seized, some of whom have serious pre-existing health conditions. In a press conference held in Washington, D.C., relatives repeated calls for the swift release of their loved ones.
A week ago today, we stood on the border with Gaza, so close to Omer. We screamed his name through huge speakers, hoping that in some way, somehow, he might hear us and know that we're fighting for him.
The new conditions demanded by Hamas could also delay aid to Palestinians in southern Gaza, who are desperately in need of the basics required for survival. Gaza's Hamas-run government says since the deal was brokered, the south's largest city, Khan Yunis, has come under the most intense fire it's seen since the war began.
The airstrikes are absolutely terrifying. As you know, we're living in tents. They don't protect us from shrapnel. They don't protect us from anything. The sound of the airstrikes is extreme. A short while ago, the strikes were very close to us.
From Davos, UN Chief Antonio Guterres reiterated his calls for an immediate ceasefire to facilitate both the release of Israeli hostages and aid for Palestinians in Gaza.
The world is standing by as civilians, mostly women and children, are killed, maimed, bombarded, forced from their homes and denied access to humanitarian aid.
He described the catastrophe unfolding in Gaza as being beyond words.
I want to cross now to Jerusalem and bring in Juliette Touma from the UN's Agency for Palestinian Refugees. It's good to have you with us. What can you tell us about the current status of medical deliveries to Gaza?
Well, I've just returned from Gaza myself, and the situation is absolutely desperate. And there are severe shortages in medicines, specifically those related to chronic diseases, including diabetes and cancer and such. Also because the pharmacies, the private pharmacies, have been all but shut since after the 2 weeks after the war began, and we're not able to replenish supplies.
Mm-hmm. I understand the head of your organization, Felipe Lazzarini, just finished a tour of Gaza and saying that he was shocked by the poor conditions. What did he tell you? How did he describe what he saw there?
Well, we were in Gaza together with the commissioner and myself, and we went around not only to the south this time, but we also went to the middle areas, where an area that has witnessed a fresh wave of displacement following the evacuation orders that were issued by the Israeli authorities just before Christmas. So it was filled with people. People were everywhere, displaced. Some of them were displaced multiple times. And wherever you looked in the south, especially, you had these structures that were covered with plastic sheeting that became people's homes for now, with very, very poor living conditions, including hygiene.
Earlier today, Palestine Investment Fund Chairman Mohammed Mustafa said at the World Economic Forum, and I'm quoting him, that more people in Gaza are likely to die of hunger and famine than war. So what is being done right now to make sure that that does not happen?
Look, it is only a matter of time that the siege is going to kill people in Gaza. In fact, the siege is the silent killer of people. This is primarily the older people who are not able to get medical care or medicine. It's also children with special needs, also due to the lack of medicine. But it's also, imagine someone having a heart attack and cannot get to the hospital, also because of the reoccurring cuts in telecommunications. I mean, when I was there, it was impossible to place a phone call on a mobile phone, and the internet was extremely patchy. And this is the situation for the vast majority of people in Gaza, completely cut out of the world. So indeed, the siege is the silent killer of people in Gaza. And soon enough, people are going to start dying of diseases and of hunger and starvation.
Juliette Toumba, press officer for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees. We appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.